All right. One thing you can do is you can use image capture or quick capture down here and actually set these up as a multi-zone queue. So if I go back here and select my two halves of my logo, and I got both of them projecting up there. Now, if I want to go and basically turn this into one queue, I can go to the new capture, click on capture, and you'll see it right down here. And all I have to do is click and drag this into an open queue. So now I'm going to deselect these. And so now when I click on this queue here, it's automatically taking my two queues and projecting them across the multiple zones. So yeah, that's cool. And that's one thing I can do. Another thing I can do is if I want to set this up on the timeline, let's go down to workspace. Click this here, go to the timeline. Let's close this tab. All right, so I'm going to first. I'm gonna just delete that queue real quick. So it's all right. So I'm gonna go and drag these onto two tracks, and I'm just gonna line them up. All right, I'm gonna go into my track properties and make sure the projection zones are set accordingly. So track 1, I'm going to have projecting to laser 1. And then track 2, I'm going to set to project to laser 2. All right, so now when I go to play that, it's playing my logo. All right, so when you get all these logos set up, I basically had to do all of these. I set up in a timeline to basically kind of play right after each other, with some fade ins, fade outs, zoom ins, that kind of stuff. But basically, when I built these, I was just kind of eyeballing it, and when I got to the site, it was a pretty tight spot to that I had to project onto, and certain logos were a little too big, and certain logos needed to be repositioned, maybe up or down. So there's two ways I could do that. There's a few ways I could do that. One, I could go back into the original frame and resize it here and resave it, and then have to cut out my sections again. But I don't want to do that. The other way I could do it is I could just click in here and resize or reposition for each track. But that is a little too time consuming as well, and I don't really want to do that. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use a bus track. A bus track is a way where I can add, say, effects onto that track that will be used on multiple laser tracks. It's hard to explain, so I'll just go ahead and try to show you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bus, and I'm actually going to add two buses. So these are my buses, 5 and 6, and I'm going to go into the track properties of bus 5, and under the bus tab, I'm going to select bus A. So this is going to be bus A. And then for track 6, I'm going to go into the track properties, click on bus, and I'm going to select bus B. So I've got bus A and bus B, and I'll just go and rename them here. Bus A and bus bus B. Okay. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to add an effect onto these lines or onto these bus tracks. And basically I want to add a sizing key effect and a positioning key effect to each one of these tracks. And that's really going to be all I need as far as repositioning these logos. And well, I'll just go ahead and do it. So if I create a new event, I don't know why, but it's not doing anything. So the way I've been getting around that is I'll just throw a quick effect up on here, and I go over to my effect tab, and I'm just going to delete all those. So now I got an empty effect in here. So you just want to start with an empty effect. And this is going to be my sizing track. So I'm going to go to my key effect and click size. This may be confusing, but you'll know what I'm doing here in just a second. All right, so in the track properties of Laser 1, I'm going to go to my bus tab. And I'm going to say, allow the track to be controlled by bus A. Because remember, this is bus A, and that's going to be my size. I'm also going to go ahead and select bus B as well. Bus B is going to be my position key effect. So I'm going to do that for track 2 as well. Bus A, bus B. So now, anything on these tracks, bus A and bus B will affect for both. So let me just go in here and show you what that means. All right, so I'm on my size effect. And when I make let's just click on here. When I make a resizing on here, you can see that it's actually affecting both Laser 1 and Laser 2. Because I have my buses set up that way. So you can see how this would be useful for any of these effects to send one effect over multiple tracks without having to go in here and set the same effect on each track. So yeah, that's how I would do that. And for bus B, like I said, I would set up my position, and it would be the same thing. I would be able to use one position effect to reposition these logos. So yeah, that's the easiest way to do that. And like I said, you can that's useful for so many things in the timeline. But yeah,